Hey everyone, Shiny Key here with Trevian. We're going to be looking at implementing universal character customization system into ACF Ultimate. Go ahead and get yours all set up. I've migrated my folder over to the project. A note on that, however, in 5.4, I was having a lot of trouble getting it to migrate over. The engine was crashing a lot for me for some reason. I don't know what it is with some of these plugins on 5.4 and not being able to migrate. If you're running into that, however, use the 5.3 version of this project and migrate the 5.3 version over. That's what I did here to get myself set up. Once you have that migrated over, we're going to get started with the ultimate map, is where I'm sitting on. I have already made a copy of the ACF Ultimate Player BP, the UE5 version, not the UE4 version. All right. And if I come over to my tutorial version, you can see my character right here. I have my tutorial Ultimate Player BP in here. So I've copied mine over. I would recommend you do the same thing and make your own character for this, okay? So we're going to open this up in here, and we're going to get started. The first thing we want to note, again, is make sure that this is the UE5 version, not the UE4 version. So we want to make sure I only have this top level mesh right here. I do not have any other meshes or skeletal meshes below this that pertain specifically to a character. We just want this one right here. Next thing we need to do is we need to open up the example character that Universal Character System gives us. So if I come over to my Universal Character System blueprint and I search for BP third person character right here, we want this one opened up right here. All right. Now, we're going to want to make note of the hierarchy here. They're going to have the same system that we're trying to copy here. So they have a top level mesh that is UE5, and we have a UCS mesh that is UE4 right here. All right. This is what we need to replicate as well and copy over for ourselves. The Universal Character System uses a UE4 skeleton, and we're going to be doing runtime retargeting. We'll get a little bit into that later on once we get this all moved over. But what we need to start doing first is we need to select the UCS mesh and copy all the way down to, in this case, the hair. That's the last element. So we just need the meshes and skeletal meshes. Don't need anything else here. Do not touch this mesh right here because we already have this top level. We don't need this part. So we're going to copy that. We're going to come over to here. And we're going to attempt to paste it, but Unreal Engine doesn't like stuff like that, so it's not going to work for us. We're going to, once we get this copied over, we're going to reparent it to the mesh like this. And it's still not going to like us, so what we need to do is we need now to select everything except for the UCS mesh. Don't do the UCS mesh. Parent all this stuff under the UCS mesh. So our hierarchy should be the mesh that we started with, that we did not copy over. That is the UE5 skeleton. The UCS mesh, which is the UE4 skeleton. While we're over here, we're going to set this up right here. I've noticed it works even if you don't set it up, but just for the sake of making sure everything is correct, we're going to set this up. Now, for Universal Character System, female is default. Female is the default look until you set something up. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to set SK female final as my default mesh. Great. Next, what we need to do is we need to add, and we want to add a UCS component right there. Naming is fine. And if you are doing a multiplayer project, we need to click the UCS component. We need to scroll down, and we need to make sure that this component replicates checkbox is checked. It's pretty important if you want the presets to be updating for everybody else. We need to make sure that this is replicating for everyone. Next, we need to come back to the third-person character example that we have here. We need to come into the construction script of this third-person character, and we need to copy these nodes right here. So we don't need to copy the actual construction script node here, but we need to copy everything else. Now, if you copied everything over like I did, the namings should actually just line up for you, and you shouldn't get any variable. You should not get any variable missings here. If you do, just replug them in. Note how we're plugging them in though. So we have the component that we created. We have the mesh, which is this right here. And then we have the components of that mesh, the hair, the beard, the head cloth, to set all this up. Great. So if we're going to compile and save that now. Now, if we come over to viewport, it's not going to look quite right. So what we need to do is we need to select UCS mesh. We need to select all the skeletal meshes and static mesh that we copied over, and we need to zero the values out. So top right here, we just need to put all these values to 0. There we go. Now if I play this, everything's going to be working. But we're still seeing the UE5 skeleton, which is not really what we want right now. So if we come back over and I select my UE5 skeletal mesh right here, I'm going to search for hidden in game, just like that. Now, a warning here. If you play this right now, it's going to break. You're going to T-pose, animations are not going to work. That is because we're missing a setting here. So back under the UE5 skeletal mesh, we also need to search for tick. Down here at the bottom, we're going to see the visibility-based anim tick option. It's going to be set to always tick pose. We need to change this to always tick pose and refresh bones. The refresh bones portion is the important part. We still want to make sure that the bones are animating so when we have it hidden. So now if I come back over here, you'll notice now my character is going to start working again. Okay? All right. Next thing we need to do to get this fully integrated over is we need to actually set this as the main mesh. So what we're going to do here is in the ACF Ultimate Player UE4 blueprint, we actually have an example of runtime retargeting that you may have seen. We need to do the same thing here. So we need to copy these nodes over here. And remember, this is in the UE4 blueprint here. This is where you have this example. You could also just pull these nodes in directly if you'd like. I'm just going to copy them because I'm lazy. And we need to come over to event graph. And I already have them here because this has been a few takes, but you're going to want to copy this over for yourself, okay? It's going to complain if we copy this over right here. It's going to complain that it can't find the skeletal mesh, which is perfect because we actually don't want to use the skeletal mesh in this case. We want to use the UCS mesh. And just as an example, let me show you why we need to do this. Let's not plug this in just yet. I'm going to connect that, but we're not going to plug this in just yet. And we're going to see why this is necessary, okay? So if I come in and play, if I equip a weapon, you're going to notice that I'm not really holding the sword. It's close, but it's not quite there. This is because they're still being attached to the UE5 skeleton. The skeleton for the UE4 is a little different, so we're seeing some discrepancies here. And the fix for that are these nodes right here. So if I come over and I reconnect these nodes, and I can compile and save, we're going to see a change, but it's not going to be what we want. We're going to notice now that they don't work at all, okay? That is because the skeleton that we retargeted to does not have the sockets that we need. So, we need to fix that. If I come over to my UCS mesh here, and I find the SK female, and I open this up, we need to come over to the skeleton, the UE4 skeleton right here, and we need to open that up. Now, we also need to open up, let's see if this will let me do it. Sometimes it does not like me doing this. We need to open up the the skeleton mesh for Manny, which is in the plugin folder. And we need to open up its skeleton. And we need to copy over all the equips. So under spine okay, we'll start up the top. So we have our root socket. We need to copy that over under root, control paste. Remember, we're copying from the UE5 skeleton to the UE4 skeleton of UCS. Next, we need to copy the pistol equip over, and that's going to be attached to spine 03. So we'll put that under spine 03. Next, we need to copy everything under spine 05. So we'll grab everything except for these VK or these IK hand bones. Okay, we're just going to copy the sockets. So select them all, Control C, come over to spine 5, if I can find it. I don't think we have a spine 5 on this. That's right. So we're going to have to copy this over to spine 3 for now, which should still... And it's not going to... Again, it pasted weird because we're doing multiple. I don't know why it does that, but just make sure that we're pulling these down to spine 3. And it's going to make me it's going to make it one at a time for me because why would it not? So we're going to drag all these underneath spine 03. Oh, sorry, except for the root socket. Now if we look at these are pretty close. We don't necessarily need to put them on spine 05. You may still want to play around with them, but for the purposes here, this is going to be close enough for us. So we're going to move on. Next, we need to do the hand left. I don't know why I keep right-clicking to copy. There's no copy there. So we need to do the hand left, and we do have a hand left on this. We're going to paste, and this time it liked me, so this time it was okay. Gonna keep scrolling down a little bit, keep seeing what else we need here. Next one looks like we need is going to be the hand right. Whoa. We're gonna select arrow. We're gonna select all the way down to the single-handed weapon. Obviously don't copy the preview. It's not gonna copy anyways, but just don't select it. And, oh, there is a copy there. Okay. So we're going to copy everything under hand R. We're going to scroll down to R character, and we're going to paste in hand R. Just like that. And let's keep scrolling. I think that's it. Oh, we did forget one. Sorry. Weapon R as well. We also need this one. You probably already saw that, but I completely missed it. So good on you if you saw that. And we'll keep scrolling down. I believe that's it, but we'll keep looking here to make sure. Okay, we do have a couple extra ones here. So we have kickstart under calf right. We'll go ahead and move that over just cuz. Calf right. I don't think we have a calf right. Oh, we do. Here it is. That's calf left. I'm going to search it. Here we go. Calf right. And we're going to paste sockets. Okay. And then looks like we had one more under foot right. We have kick end as well. So we'll move that over as well. And that was under ball right. Paste that in there as well. All right. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Does not look like it. We do have a foot socket, it looks like, up here. We'll copy that over as well. Probably not the end of the world if we don't have that, but let's just copy it over, make sure we're copying over completely. We probably have one on the right foot too if I was a wagering man. So let's search for foot. We do. We have one on the right as well, so we'll search for that. We'll grab that as well, and we'll put this under foot right. Great. We're gonna make sure we get that all saved up. And now if I come back into my map and I hit play, now we're gonna notice that the sockets are binding correctly and we are holding the sword correctly. Like I said, you're probably still going to want to play this. As you can see, it looks like it's a little lower on this character than it is normally in on the UE5 character. So you're probably going to want to play around with these sockets and make sure that the positioning is still correct for you. But we at least have them binding right now. So we're going to move on. I'm going to close these out. And I'd like to finish this by showing you just a few example use cases of how you might get this set up. So I'm going to come over here. Now, I already did this part, but I'm going to walk you through just kind of how I did this. We're going to come over to the character system, and I'm going to come over to maps. And we're going to open up the player creation map. Make sure it's the player creation map. This is the map that your players would use to create their own character. I'm not going to walk you through the whole character creation process. It's really cool. It's very well done. Definitely play around with it. But I've already created a very basic character for myself here. Once you're done creating everything, under preset name, just put a name in. I used Shiny for mine, and I saved the preset. Before we move back over, let's address this hair problem right here. I've noticed this happens sometimes when it migrates over for some reason. It can't quite find the links or something. I'm not sure what it is, but if we search hair, you're gonna see all of these are gray. Okay, we're gonna open up the material master, and you can see it's fine in here. So we're just gonna resave this and apply it. We're gonna open this back up, and we're gonna go under hair basic, and we got some errors here. I'm just gonna re-put that in there. For some reason, like it put hair master new underneath of here. See if we can get this kind of fixed, because you can see it is working. I don't know why this breaks, but if we come back into the hair, it's still broken. Okay. See if we can like do like a refresh or something. See if we can do an update redirectors. Yeah, it's not happy, is it? Okay, we may need to move on. I'm not sure why this breaks. Like I said, it seems to be a bug with migrating it over. You may not be experiencing that, but we're gonna move on for now. If I find a follow up for that, I'll put it in the comments or something. Let people know what the fix was. Usually for me, just coming in here and hitting apply works. Let's see if we can move something around here. Usually coming in here and just hitting apply works for me. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, there we go. Now we got it working. So yeah, like if you can't hit the apply, just move something around real quick, reapply it, and then save it. And now when we come back here and here, the hair is going to be working. Just want to make sure that we show that off, because it is something I've noticed does tend to break for some reason. And by the way, if you're not getting a mouse here, this is another bug with this particular menu. I don't know why. I think the method that they're using isn't quite supported in here. So that's why you see me going like this, where I just Windows key it, just to get my mouse back. If you're using a different menu system, you're not gonna have this. It's just this menu system for some reason. Again, don't know why. But anyways, we created our character. We saved it in the preset. So now how do we use that preset? Let's come back over to our ultimate map here. Just like this. And if we come into our tutorial character, I'm going to close out the third person character and the UE4 and the hero material, just so we're not getting confused. So, couple ways we can make use of this system. First way, using a data table reference. So if we come over to our UCS component, under the System tab, at the bottom, we're going to see Data Table Reference. It's currently set to none. We can use a data table reference. And if you want to use this for AI or NPCs, this is how I would use this. Okay, if you have you want an NPC to be the monster, for example, we'll pull that in here, and we'll hit play. Now I'm a monster character. All right. So if you want to put this on NPCs and your AI, that would be the way that I would do it. Now that's not very conducive for players. You don't really want to use this system for players. So how do we use this for players? I'm going to reset this to put this back to none. For players, if you followed the step that we just did and you created a character in that player design map, we should have a save game reference, which will be the same name of whatever name you chose. So I picked Shiny for my save game, for my preset name. So if I put Shiny in there, and I hit compile and save and play, now you're going to see this is the character I created. I didn't spend a ton of time on my character, okay? I'm demonstrating stuff. I'm not trying to design beautiful characters for you. But you'll see that this is the character I created in the player creation map. And it's pulling in correctly. So that's a perfectly legitimate way to do it. You can just set it here. Now, setting it here isn't going to work for your player. Your player's not going to be able to come and just set this up. So a way we can do this is if I come into my class defaults and I search for name, if we see the character name right here, we can set the character name to Shiny, just like so. And then just to show you that I have no tricks up my sleeve, let's clear this out. So we're going to set my character name to Shiny. You'll see nothing works again. And in the event begin play, we'll do it in the construction script, but you're probably going to want to do the third method that I'm going to show you here in a minute. In the construction script, what we can do is just before we initialize our character right here, we can give ourselves a little bit more room. We can pull off of the UCS component and set the save game ref. And then what we can do is we can search for get character name. We want the ACF get character name. And we can actually plug this in here. Just like that. And we can hit play. So it's going to still work again. So the UCS component is going to drive off of whatever the player's character name is. Now, because this isn't a construction script, this may work for you, this may not work for you. If you set the character's name ahead of time when you're spawning it, this will work fine. However, the third method that I'm actually going to be using is by using the built-in component. So if we pull out, I'm going to come over to my event begin play right here. And if we pull out UCS component, we're going to have a function off of this called change preset runtime. And as you might figure out, this allows us to change an entire preset at runtime. So when you're creating a character, it creates a preset string, and you can store that preset string in a database and then use it here when you pull it back out of the database. We'll look at stuff like that a little bit more in other videos. We're not going to touch that right now. Those, I promise you, are videos in of themselves, but we'll show you how to do that. Now, my runtime looks a little different than your runtime because I've changed it to support database strings. By default, you're just going to have these top three. You're going to have either a data table row or a save game preset to pick which one you want. Those are still valid, and if you're using the method before that I was talking about, you could update the character's name, and then again, get the character name, drag that into here, and load it from a save game. You could absolutely do that. That is a better way than doing it in the construction script. You could do it in the event begin play. You could do it off of a function call, however you want to do it. So this is a perfectly legitimate way as well. If you'd like to do it my way, let me go ahead and open up this UCS component and show you just kind of the magic. It's not very complicated, but if we just double click this, we'll open up the component. Now, in this component, all that's really important is that we're setting this preset string right here, okay? That's all this is doing, even if it's loading it from a save game or a data table. It's using a lot of extra code to set the preset string. But for a database, if we are already storing the preset string, we already have that information. So all this node is doing is we pulled this back and we made an extra branch node right here. And we pulled that branch into a new variable that I just, for example, called the useDB string. And then we are setting if that's true, we're setting the local preset string directly to DB string. So rather than getting the string out of one of the data tables or one of the save games, we're setting it directly ourselves because we already know the string that we got from our database. And then we're just dragging our pin all the way over to the sequence node right here, just like these other ones are, because this is what is actually doing the bulk work for you of changing over all of the presets. So that is how you set that up if you want a database string. You're going to want to have a method to store that string. Like I said, I am planning on going over that in some videos, show you how I did it just as an example. But we're not going to go into that right now, as this video is just for getting your character set up. Okay, so that is getting universal character system in place. Once you're at this point, you should be able to create a character on the character design map, come over to the UCS component and set your character name using one of the methods that we just discussed, and then in the ultimate map playing and being able to see your character all moving around, equipping everything. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. If you did have any questions on this, you were stuck on something, please feel free to reach out to me either in the comments below or on Discord. Either works for me. I'm more than happy to help walk through if I maybe forgot something or didn't explain something very clearly. Just let me know. Thanks so much for watching. I do have a Patreon link down in below. Never required. You do not need to support at all, but if you'd like an extra way to say thanks, we do have that in the description below if you'd like that as an option. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.